All right, aloha, free radicals of all shapes, sizes, colors, denominations, orientations, and educations, and anything else that I forgot about. My name is Dave, and this is the Radical Independent, and I'm that guy, and you're that guy or woman if you are watching this channel. CNN Politics. Ranking who is left in the 2020 race. Now, if you're a Bernie Sanders fan and or a Tulsi Gabbard fan, your head will explode. It just will. I mean, grab some duct tape and start taping right now because, again, there is going to be brain matter scattered about if you don't do that. I am a trained professional here and have already read through this amazing article. Folks, this is the constant gaslighting. First of all, here's the picture that they want to put up here. Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete is the anointed candidate who really nobody likes or wants. What minority is going to vote for? Again, these people they purport to be for black and brown people. They are always saying, well, the Republicans are evil and, they don't care about black people or brown people. And they are trying to push a candidate who couldn't be more white privileged, all right, which is a term I don't even like to use because I think, again, it's somewhat divisive, somewhat polarizing. But this guy is the epitome of white privilege. First, they tried Elizabeth Warren, who's also the epitome of white privilege. Okay, or Native American. But yeah, she's the epitome of that. And this guy, Buttigieg, bumps up in our 2020 rankings. The CNN rankings. We're going to tell you who to vote for. These aren't rankings that are based on any data that is reliable, interesting. It's all just inside establishment crap. So, again, Tulsi Gabbard, you will notice that Tulsi Gabbard is not even a part of this list again. This is like the third, fourth, fifth, I don't know, I'm losing count of how many times Tulsi Gabbard has been left off of just talking about politics. Hey, CNN, hey, everybody on planet Earth, Tulsi Gabbard is still running for president, and last time I checked, according to a Suffolk University Boston Globe largest newspaper circulation in New Hampshire poll, Tulsi had 6% and was technically in fourth place. Sounds like a top-tier candidate. But let's read this, gaslighting, propaganda, whatever you want to call it. This is the kind of propaganda, as Chris Hedges has said, that any foreign dictator would love to have. They just would love to have this. In less than 48 hours earlier this week, 3 Democratic presidential candidates ended their bids. The big news was the departure of California Senator Kamala Harris, one of their own. And when I say that, I mean that Kamala Harris was the epitome of this channel, this network, CNN, and all they stand for and all they believe. Kamala Harris, who challenges other people on the stage to call for Donald Trump's ouster from Twitter. Because if we can only get Trump off of Twitter, we can solve the healthcare and the climate crises. Okay, we can focus on those things, get those things taken care of, if we can just get Trump off of Twitter. Okay, Elizabeth Warren wouldn't commit to doing that, and Kamala Harris was incensed. We lost Montana Governor Steve Bullock. Nobody noticed. We lost Pennsylvania Rep. Joe Sestak. Didn't even know he was running. The sort of vapid winnowing of the field will begin, or rapid. I said vapid. It's a Freudian slip. Oh, man. The rapid winnowing of the field will begin to be the rule, not the exception, because guess what? Because CNN says so. Not because candidates are losing popularity, but because the DNC, who coordinated the last time with CNN on debate questions and so forth for Hillary Clinton, and I just don't understand why people are doing the insane thing again and just saying, let's just try this thing again and see how it works out. Let's just keep doing it. Progressive commentators, even people who are independent, are like, boy, this horse race sure is interesting. No, it's not. This is all predetermined BS. And it's hard for me to keep going, but I'm just going to keep reading this because it's almost, there are humorous moments to this because it's so, I guess, it's just flies in the face of democracy in such a brazen manner. We're getting very close to the point where some of the candidates, in hopes of having that one big moment, will need to look at themselves in the mirror and admit that it just ain't happening. Well, it's good to see the word ain't in a CNN piece. When does that moment come for the 15 men and women still running for the Democratic presidential nominee? It sort of depends on each individual, but the deadline to make the next debate is on December 12th, and 6 people have currently qualified. For the 9 who haven't made it, a group that includes well-known figures like Senator Cory Booker, establishment, San Antonio Mayor Julian Castro. So they're both well-known figures, right? They're well-known figures, even though they're typically not polling. They're at like 0 or 1 or whatever. Below, the 10 most people likely to wind up as the Democratic nominee for president. Now, again, we have a picture of Mayor Pete. Everything's all about Mayor Pete. So here are the 10 people that they pick. Okay? It's just unbelievable. These are the 10 most likely people, according to CNN now. Julian Castro, Tom Steyer, Cory Booker. Ooh, we've got Andrew Yang. So they've allowed one guy, but let's read what they say about Yang. Yang's support is limited, but it's a solid 2 to 3%. More important, he has shown a true ability to raise money. Wow, they got something right. The problem for Yang is that he still needs one more qualifying poll for the December debate. And by the way, so does Tulsi Gabbard. I can't understand how you have Castro and Booker on here, but you don't have Tulsi. And it's going to get even worse coming up. Here's Bloomberg at number 6. Okay? We know that Bloomberg is, again, this morning on my local news, 2 Michael Bloomberg ads in less than 20 minutes. He's got so much money to spend. He's worth $55 billion with a B. Okay, so he can buy him. They love this stuff. He's working on Super Tuesday states. He's going to buy himself in. And you don't think the super delegates are going to go with a guy like Bloomberg? Come on. This one drives me up a wall at number 5. How they have Amy Klobuchar. As much as I don't like Cory Booker and Julian Castro, I don't know how they do worse than Amy Klobuchar on this list. That's a big jump from 6 to 5 on our list. Is there really? So there's electricity in the air for Amy Klobuchar now. I tell you folks, this is just basically like a self-fulfilling prophecy. This has nothing to do with reality. She's risen to 5th place in Iowa and is a wild card in this race. No, Tulsi Gabbard is actually more of a wild card in this race than Amy Klobuchar. If the reality is that Amy Klobuchar misses Headshaker when she talks, maybe some Xanax is in order, and I'm sure she can help Big Pharma make Xanax available for anybody who needs it. Costs you a little bit of money, though. She is someone who could, in theory, be acceptable to most of the party. Oh, so it's the Bill Maher philosophy here. Let's not overplay, though. She's polling at only 1 or 2% or 2 or 3% nationally. Okay? Bernie Sanders at number 4. This paragraph for Bernie fans, I told you, grab your duct tape. Grab it. Here it comes. The Vermont senator has had a bit of a resurgence in recent weeks. Really? Like being at the top in California, for instance, and being close to the top everywhere else? It's a resurgence. Just a little resurgence. Taking advantage of some slippage by Elizabeth Warren. At least they admit that. Here we go, though. The problem for Sanders is the same problem he's had since he began running for president in 2015. Let me fill in what the real problem is for Bernie Sanders. The DNC is corrupt. That's the real problem for Bernie Sanders. But then they go on to say something completely different because they don't see the DNC as being corrupt. Can he find ways to expand his support beyond his hardcore allies? His hardcore allies. Who are those people? I know. The people of the United States who are tired of the same old and want something new, fresh, independent. They want a few crumbs to fall off the table, like the health care, because that's kind of important for a lot of people so they don't go bankrupt. Or, hey, how about free college tuition? We've got this great new economy on the way, and we need folks to be able to, get educated, whether that's through vocational stuff or just, 4-year degree, whatever. So, but, his hardcore allies are blue-collar, workaday people who are tired of getting the shaft by this economy. Even Bloomberg in his ad says he wants to create an economy that works for everyone. Okay? I'm paraphrasing, but that's actually something that was plagiarized. Because we know that while Sanders may have the most ardent backers, again, the American people, there are simply not enough of them currently to deliver him the nomination. Okay, this is the most outrageous statement. This is like Crystal Ball got outraged the other day on the Hill, talking about, I think it was something related to Bernie, and her head was going to explode. This sentence, and I'm not the biggest Bernie fan on planet Earth. Okay, I'm 100% for Tulsi Gabbard. But since they're not talking about Tulsi at all on this list of people, I'm going to talk about Bernie. Sorry for the Beto O'Rourke hand motions. I'm a little fired up because it's just, folks, this isn't a democracy. How is this a democracy when the supposed, first name in news, CNN, says because we know that while Sanders may have the most ardent backers, there are simply not enough of them currently to deliver him the nomination. BS. That is complete BS. They have blacked this guy out. They have not talked about him. He is basically Tulsi Jr. when it comes to the blackout. All right? Tulsi is number one because she's not on the list. She's not even spoken of. Her name does not show up anywhere in this article. Okay, so Bernie Sanders is at number 2 when it comes to the blackout. And this line, because, yes, he has the most ardent backers. He's got the biggest rallies. He's got the biggest online support. And he's also got the biggest fundraising for just regular people. We're not talking about corporations. So they put Warren ahead of Sanders here. Incredible. The last month has been rough on Warren. Her Iowa poll lead is gone, and she has fallen into a tie for second place nationally. Who's the second place? Who is it? Who is the second place nationally? She's fallen into a tie for second place nationally with Bernie Sanders. They don't mention that. There are numerous reasons for Warren's drop, including attacks on her Medicare for All stance. But while there's a lot that has gone poorly, don't lose sight of the top line. Warren is still well liked by Democrats. I just don't think so. And has the most endorsements besides Biden. So, and there's Mayor Pete at number 2. If the Iowa caucuses were held today, the South Bend, Indiana mayor would win. No, we don't know that until we actually have the votes counted. Look, if this guy wins Iowa, and then he's got he doesn't have a pretty good chance of winning in New Hampshire. It's Bernie time. It's Bernie time in New Hampshire. I'm sorry. It's Bernie's primary to lose in New Hampshire. He is the leader in New Hampshire. They keep foisting this guy on us. People are going to start to look to Bloomberg to bail them out. Because, I'm sorry, Mayor Pete against Donald Trump? Little Pete? If I were Donald Trump, I would say you call him Little Pete. He looks like a 16-year-old kid. I'm sorry, he's 37 years old, and he looks like he's maybe 18, 17. He looks like he's about to go to the prom. All right? Nobody wants this after Trump. They want someone who has, some ideas for the country, number one. For Buttigieg, the challenge will be keeping up this momentum all the way through early February when people actually start voting. Right, because nobody's voted yet. But he is very much right where he wants to be now. At number 2, he wants to be. Joe Biden's at number 1. The Biden train is on rickety tracks, but it keeps holding on. Biden is not ahead in Iowa or New Hampshire. He does, however, hold a massive edge among black voters, which, by the way, nationally will destroy Pete Buttigieg. It will destroy him. It has buoyed him nationally and in South Carolina. At the same time, Biden has the most endorsements from elected officials, though most haven't endorsed anyone. That doesn't make any sense. He's got the most endorsements from elected officials, though most, I guess, there are a lot of them that haven't endorsed yet. That's what that's trying to say. That was a weird sentence. That leaves Biden where he's been most of the year, a weak frontrunner. Yeah, just like Hillary Clinton was. So I agree kind of with their analysis on Biden, and they did talk about a massive edge with black voters. And again, this is the party in the channel that's really supposed to care about minorities, but yet they keep promoting white privilege. Pete, white privilege. Elizabeth Warren. Bit of white privilege again, Amy Klobuchar. More white privilege, Michael Bloomberg. Cory Booker, you can't say white privilege, but definitely establishment. Establishment. Tom Steyer, white privilege. Julian Castro, I would say not white privilege because he's, of Spanish, Mexican descent. I'm not sure. It's Latino for sure. But, I don't know. He's just inside baseball, former Obama guy. Talked about some weird things at the debate, which I think nobody cares about. Inventing new wedge issues. But here it is. It's a Mayor Pete article. And guess what? No mention of Tulsi Gabbard. No mention of Marianne Williamson either. But really, with Gabbard polling at 6% in New Hampshire, it's astonishing. It's breathtaking. And what they did to Bernie Sanders on this one sentence here, he's got the most ardent supporters. There are simply not enough of them currently to deliver him the nomination. That's BS. That is the BS line of the century right there. And if I were a Bernie supporter, I would be so angry. And I'm pretty angry, and I am a Bernie supporter to some degree. Again, if for some reason Tulsi can't get to number 1 and win this thing, then I'm going to turn to Bernie Sanders, and he better be nice to me on top of it. He better be nice to me. Otherwise, it's Green Party time! All right, ranking who is left in the 2020 race. There you go. Gaslighting at its best. All right, people, I'm done. See you soon.